Hello viewers, welcome to my channel IITJ Olympiads and AP Physics with Ambarish. And today I have brought a much requested topic, that is reflection and transmission of string waves. In fact, many textbooks do not give a rigorous derivation of the results that are involved in this, and students, especially sharp students, are generally not satisfied with the kind of derivation that's given mostly. So in today's video I am going to present a very rigorous derivation of the formulae for reflection and transmitted pulses, and I want your full attention. Today's video is going to be a bit longer, but I am sure if you pay full attention you will be able to understand everything. Okay, so instead of directly stating the proof, I have formatted it in the I have stated this in the problem format, and then we are going to solve the problem. So how we have formulated the problem? So the problem statement is a wave pulse is given by y incident is equal to f incident. Fi is for incident, y incident is f incident of x minus v1t. Okay, so wave pulse given by yi is equal to fi x minus v1t is incident on the boundary of two strings located at x equal to 0. So here is one string and here is the other string. Okay, and this is the boundary of the two strings, and this is the incident pulse. So incident pulse is going and it will reach the boundary, part of it will be transmitted and a part of it will be reflected. Okay, so this is incident on the boundary of two strings located at x equal to 0 as shown in the figure. Calculate the equations of reflected wave yr is equal to fr of x plus v1t. This is just subscript r and I just have used. So we have to calculate the reflected wave equation and the transmitted wave, that is yt is equal to f of t into x minus v2t. Here v1 and v2 are the wave velocities in the two strings. So here the velocity of the wave is v1, and in this region the velocity of the wave is v2, and I want to calculate the reflected wave function and the transmitted wave function given the incident wave function. Okay, so before I get into the proof, I want to make my terminology very clear. So when I say wave, I mean a function of x as well as t, and when I say disturbance, then I only mean the function of time alone. For example, suppose incident wave is fi of x minus v1t. So what is the incident disturbance at x equal to 0? So you just put x equal to 0, and what do you get? Y incident is fi of minus v1t, and I will call that as disturbance at x equal to 0. So please understand the difference between the disturbance and the wave. So at any particular location, if you put the value of x, then you are left with the function of time alone, and that time function will be called the disturbance at that x, right? So I hope you understood what do I mean by disturbance at x equal to 0. That is only a function of time. Okay, so now just visually we can see. So this is the incident wave coming here, and one wave is getting reflected and the other wave is getting transmitted, and I want to find out their equations. Okay, so see, so there is some wave coming from here, and then there is some reflected wave going here. So here is y incident, here is y reflected. So what will be the net shape of the string in this region? To the left of this boundary, the net shape will be simply the superposition of incident wave and the reflected wave. Okay, so that's what I have written. Note that the net shape of the left string will be superposition of the incident wave function yi and the reflected wave function yr, and the shape of the string on the right side is given by y transmitted. So whatever, because there's only one wave in the right hand side, whereas in the left hand side there is incident coming wave as well as the reflected wave. Okay, now we know that the string is intact. This boundary, at the boundary the string is not breaking. Not breaking means what? We can say that the displacement to the left of this boundary must be exactly equal to the displacement to the right of this boundary. Why? Because if these displacements are not equal, that means what? Left side is displaced by, let us say, this much amount, and right side is displaced by this much amount, then there will be a gap in the string. But the string is not breaking, so I can say that the displacement to the left of the string should be equal to displacement to the displacement to the left of the boundary should be exactly equal to the displacement to the right of the boundary. So I can say that at x equal to 0, the incident disturbance plus reflected disturbance, I'm using the word disturbance because now I put x equal to 0. So at the boundary, incident disturbance plus reflected disturbance should be equal to the transmitted disturbance. Okay, disturbance, not wave. Okay, for all times, every time. So for the boundary, we can write that f incident plus f reflected is ft. So yi is same as fi, so I have just used a convenient notation. Fi and yi are the same things, right? So Fi plus Fr is equal to Ft. This is always true at the boundary by continuity of the displacement. Okay, so now also, since the boundary is a massless point, so exactly at the boundary you can think of boundary as one molecule thick or having something like negligible mass, and on a massless point the net force is always zero. Okay, so that's what I've written. Also, since the boundary is a massless point, net force on it must be always zero. That is, tension forces from the left and the right strings must be equal and opposite. So here is the boundary, let us say. So one string is pulling it this way and the other string is pulling it this way, and this is a massless particle, negligible. So boundary you can think as of negligible thickness. From to the left there is one string, and the right of the boundary there is another string, and the boundary particle itself is having negligible mass. So therefore tension in this direction, tension in this direction must be zero. Massless point must always have zero force. Okay, so if the tensions are equal and opposite, therefore the slopes of these two strings must also be equal. Okay, so I hope you got the second condition on the boundary. First was the continuity of the displacement, and the second is the continuity of the slope. Okay, so the string slopes to the right and left side of the boundary must be same, or I can say that del by del x of y incident plus y reflected must be equal to del by del x of y transmitted at the boundary, that is x equal to 0. So this is the left side wave and its slope is del by del x, and right side wave and its slope is del by del x. We have done, right? Also recall that for a right travelling wave, del y by del x is minus 1 by v del y by del t. This can be shown very easily. I will just draw a box and show quickly. So suppose y is f of x minus vt. So what do you get for del y by del x? So del y by del x, in simple notation, it is simply f dash of x minus vt. Whereas del y by del t, if you do by chain rule, you will get a minus v also outside. So it will be equal to minus v times f dash of x minus vt, right? So if you adjust that minus v, you know that del y by del x, that is simply minus 1 by v times del y by del t. I hope you understood this rough work. This is a trivial fact, generally used as a standard fact stated while teaching waves and sound. It's presented as standard fact. Okay, so so for right travelling wave, del y by del x is minus 1 by v del y by del t, and for the left travelling wave, del y by del x is 1 by v del y by del t. So this gives us a method for transforming the space derivative into a time derivative, right? So now from equation 3, see, y incident is a right travelling wave, y reflected is a left travelling wave, and y transmitted is a right travelling wave. Okay, so I can say, instead of writing the space derivative x derivative, I can convert this to time derivative. So del yi by del x becomes minus 1 by v1 del yi by del t, or I can say minus 1 by v1 f dot I. Dot I am using for time derivative, right? Similarly, for reflected wave which is travelling to the left, I can say that del by del x of y reflected will be 1 upon plus, this is positive because it's going to the left, 1 by v1 times f dot r. v1 because it's again moving in the same medium 1. Okay, and this should be equal to now del by del x of y t, that is 1 upon v2 because the velocity in the second medium is v2. So 1 by v2, and it's a right travelling wave. So 1 by v2 times f dot t. Okay, in fact I missed a minus sign, although I remember the correct result, so my final answers are correct. Did a little cheating there, but there should be a minus sign over here, right? Because it's a right travelling wave. So I have corrected that. Here dot implies the partial derivative with respect to time, and now I differentiate 2 with respect to time. So look at the equation 2. So equation 2 was based on the continuity of the displacements at the boundary. So these were only time functions at x equal to 0, and I can always differentiate. So this function, this time function plus this time function is equal to this time function. So their derivative must also be same at all times. So if I differentiate equation 2 with respect to time, what do I get? So I get f dot I plus f dot r is equal to f dot t. Now look, something beautiful has happened. So here I have an equation on f dot r and f dot t, and this is also an equation in f dot r and f dot t. So assuming that I know f dot I can solve this simultaneous system of equations. There are 2 unknowns and there are 2 equations, and I can easily solve for f dot r and f dot t by eliminating the variables. So I've skipped the math, but it's a simple 2 variable 2 equations, and you can easily calculate So if you solve the equations 4 and 5, what do you get? You get f dot t is equal to 2 v2 upon v1 plus v2 times f dot I. Okay, and similarly f dot r you will get as v2 minus v1 upon v2 plus v1 into f dot I. So this is the relation between the time derivatives. Now I don't want the time derivative of the disturbance, I want the relationship between the disturbances. So what do I do? Integrate both sides with respect to time, and you know that you will get an arbitrary constant. Okay, here also you integrate both sides with respect to time, and again you will get an arbitrary constant, right, when you integrate with respect to t. So I integrate equation 6 and 7, and using the fact that if incident wave is not there, then there is nothing to be transmitted or reflected. Okay, so when fi is 0, I know that f transmitted must also be 0 and f reflected must also be 0, because if there's nothing incident, then there's nothing to be transmitted and nothing to be reflected. That means what? Arbitrary constant must be equal to 0. Okay, so just integrating this, I get the similar relation in the ft and fr. So ft is simply, please note, so far I have found the relationship only between the disturbances at x equal to 0. So far I have not calculated the wave. I will be calculating the wave from the disturbance later on. Okay, so this is the relationship between the transmitted disturbance and incident wave, and this is the relation between reflected disturbance and the incident wave. Okay, so these are the important results which you can commit to memory, and then these can be applied to any arbitrary function. Okay, so what I have written now, the transmitted and reflected wave functions can be calculated by by applying future shift to the disturbance functions obtained at the boundary. Okay, so what do I mean by that? So see, if you have a function f of t and another function f of t minus t naught, so you know that f of t and f of t minus t naught exactly have the same profile in time, except that this is delayed by a time t naught, right? Because whatever value f of t will give, let us say whatever value t naught is, let us say 3 seconds. So then whatever the first function gives at t equal to 0, the same thing the second function will give at t is equal to 3 seconds, right? So it is future shifted by 3 seconds, you can say. Whatever the first function is going to do, the second function is going to do the same thing, but after a time gap of t naught. Okay, so now I know the transmitted disturbance at x equal to 0, and this transmitted disturbance, when will it reach at x equal to x? At a general x, it will take x upon v2 time to reach, right? So I can apply a future shift of x by v2, okay, to obtain the transmitted disturbance. I'll be showing the maths later on. And similarly for the reflected wave, you see, if I have a string and this is x equal to 0 boundary, so this obviously at some general x, this to the left of the boundary, this x coordinate is negative, so this distance must be equal to minus x, where x is the x coordinate of this. So how much time will the disturbance take in reaching from x equal to 0 to a general x? So that time will be minus x divided by v1. So I'll have to apply a future shift of minus x by v1. So don't worry, don't get overwhelmed. I'm going to show you the maths in full detail. Let's see. So what I've written, now the transmitted and reflected wave functions can be calculated by appropriately applying the future shift to the disturbance functions obtained at the boundary. So now at x equal to 0, what is our incident disturbance? That is fi of minus v1t. Why? Because it was fi x minus v1t and we put x equal to 0. So our incident disturbance simply becomes minus fi of minus v1t. Okay, so reflected disturbance, just put fi in this function, this formula. So substitute for fi, you get reflected disturbance as v2 minus v1 upon v2 plus v1 fi minus v1t. Okay, so now the time taken by this disturbance to reach a point at a general x coordinate is minus x by v1. So this is x equal to 0 and this is some general x, obviously with the negative value, x coordinate to the left will be negative. So time taken in going for the disturbance to go from x equal to 0 to general x is minus x by v, because x itself is negative to the left of the boundary, right? So applying future shift to equation 10. So instead of t, I need to put t minus t naught. And what is my t naught here? T naught is minus x by v1. So that's what I'm going to do. So see, from equation 10, I'm substituting, instead of t, I'm putting t minus t naught. So this is what I get. This comes as it is and this minus v1 comes as it is. And instead of this t, I'm writing t minus x by v1. Okay. And now I just need to rearrange this equation, and you take... okay, you just multiply v1 inside, and this is what you get for the reflected wave. Okay, so I hope the reflected wave derivation is clear. Similarly, I can find the transmitted disturbance. Now, after how much time will the transmitted disturbance reach a general x? See, to the right of the boundary, x coordinate is positive and the velocity is v2. So the time required to reach the point x will be x upon v2. So that means what? I need to apply a future shift to the transmitted disturbance. Whatever is the transmitted disturbance at x equal to 0, to get the transmitted wave, I apply the future shift to the transmitted disturbance, right? So that's what I've written. Similarly, transmitted disturbance reaches at general x after a time x by v2. So y transmitted at the boundary is given by what? Y transmitted was 2v2 upon v1 plus v2 into f incident of minus v1t. Again, x equal to 0 we have put in the incident wave, and this formula we have straight away copied from here. See, this is the formula that I derived here. F transmitted is 2v2 upon v1 plus v2 into f incident, and f incident is the incident disturbance, right? So this is minus f incident of minus v1t. Okay, fine. Now we have to apply future shift in equation 13. And how much future shift? We have to future shift it by x upon v2. So instead of t, see, this 2v2 upon v1 plus v2 fi comes as it is, and this minus v1 comes as it is, and instead of t I have put t minus t naught, which is x by v2. Okay, so this I have showed that future shift is x by v2. And now again I can take 1 by v2. See, v2, you take the LCM, so v2 t minus x it becomes, and you take the minus sign inside and put v1 by v2 outside. So what do you get for transmitted disturbance? This is the transmitted disturbance, that is 2v2 upon v1 plus v2 into f incident of v1 by v2 into x minus v2t. Okay, so this is our answer to the original problem that I had stated in the beginning. Okay, now because I've done a lot of math, so I need to just summarize whatever the procedure for calculating the disturbance, incident and reflected waves. So what we had done, from incident wave, calculate the incident disturbance at the boundary. By the way, I chose x equal to 0 as the boundary, but it does not matter. Nature doesn't know where you are going to choose the origin. So even if the boundary is not at x equal to 0, let us say boundary is at some x equal to L, you can do the same thing. Instead of x equal to 0, you can put x equal to L to calculate the incident disturbance at the boundary. So just put x equal to L instead of x equal to 0. Now from the incident disturbance, calculate the reflected and transmitted disturbances using formula. F reflected is v2 minus v1 upon v2 plus v1 into f incident, and f transmitted is 2v2 upon v1 plus v2 into f incident. Okay, and then once we have the reflected disturbance and transmitted disturbance, I apply the future shift f reflected and f transmitted to obtain the reflected and transmitted waves. So let me to make this concept firm in your mind, let me take one more example. Please pay careful attention, and I'm sure you will be thorough with the steps and you will be able to do many problems on your own regarding the reflection and transmission. So now here is an example. So let y incident be a sine kx minus omega t. Okay, let this be the incident at a boundary x equal to L, to the right of which wave propagation constant is k prime. So this is the boundary x equal to L, and here the wave propagation constant is k prime, and here the wave propagation constant is k. So we have to calculate what? Reflected and the transmitted waves, right? So at x equal to L, what is the incident wave? Just put L instead of x. So this becomes a sine kl minus omega t. I hope this is clear. Now what is y transmitted? So you remember y transmitted was 2v2 upon v1 plus v2 into y incident, right? And v is nothing but, you know, that omega by k. So that's what I've substituted. So instead of 2v2, I put omega by k prime, and this is v1 plus v2. So omega by k plus omega by k prime, and this is a sine kl minus omega t coming as it is. So this becomes, now you can just multiply it by kk prime on the numerator and denominator and simplify. Omega cancels outside, and so you get this as the transmitted disturbance, 2k upon k plus k prime sine of kl minus omega t. Now what's the next step? Next step is to future shift. So when will it reach at a general location? So when will it for transmitted wave, so when will it reach at a general point x? See, this is x equal to L and this is x equal to L. So this distance is x minus L. Okay, so this distance is x minus L. So we need to shift it by I've messed it up a little bit. So future shift should have been, let me correct things for you here. So it should not be x upon omega by k prime, it should be x minus L. Let me use the same color pen. Okay, x minus L upon omega prime, okay, because this distance is x minus L, this distance is x minus L and not x. So future shift should be happening by this amount, okay. And accordingly here also you have to put t minus, again here it should be x minus L upon omega by k prime, right? So that means what, okay, so now if I expand this, what do I get? So kl minus omega t is fine, and minus okay, this k prime will go to the top, so and omega will cancel with omega, so minus k prime x also you will get. Okay, there is minus omega t, and then there will be okay, so this minus is okay, this is whole thing is minus, right? So minus omega t, and then there is minus omega t, and sorry, it was, yes, this is fine, x minus L. Anyway, you can simplify this, let's not spend time on this, so let it be. So please correct this expression accordingly, but I hope you just need, if you simplify this, you will be able to get the y transmitted, okay. So you can correct that. Now let's talk about the reflected wave. So what do we get for the reflected wave? So that was v2 minus v1 upon v2 plus v1 into y incident. So y incident is again as it is, a sin kl minus omega t, and this is v2 is omega by k prime, and this is omega by k, okay. So just you multiply it by kk prime, numerator and denominator, this is what you get for reflected disturbance. Now this is the reflected disturbance, and then you need to future shift it for getting the reflected wave. So at a general x, you know that this distance is L minus x, so you need to future shift it by how much amount? L minus x by v1. So you future shift this by L minus x upon omega by k. Just put the value of omega by k, I mean just put t naught as this thing. So t minus omega by k becomes, now k goes in the numerator, and this is L minus x. And if you simplify this, you get reflected wave as this expression, just simplifying that, okay. So this is how you calculate the reflected wave and the transmitted waves from the incident wave. I hope this video helped you understand this concept clearly, and if you found this video to be useful, please do remember to give it a thumbs up, and share this video as much as possible with your friends who might be preparing for IIT JEE or Olympiads, maybe through the WhatsApp groups or Telegram groups or Discord servers or whatever social media or academic media. And if you have not already subscribed to my channel, please do remember to subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for watching this video, and please do keep coming back to my channel for more awesome stuff.